An incident in Rochester, New York, has been making national news recently, or potentially international. I know I get some viewers from Canada. Not sure if any of my Canadian comrades have been hearing about this, but sure people in Eastern Canada, since it's so close to this part of New York, have heard about it. Yeah. So in Rochester, New York, the Rochester Piggy Department or Rochester Police Department, is under fire once again for pepper spraying a 9-year-old in the face while responding to a domestic call. This comes like less than a year after Rochester police came like heavily under fire for murdering Daniel Prude while he was like running around naked in the street in the middle of a severe mental health episode. Excuse me, I'm sorry about that. We unfortunately, for some weird reason, people are acting like extremely shocked about this, and once again we hear here's a statement coming from this is from RochesterFirst.com. We got a statement from New York Attorney General Letitia James. What happened in Rochester on Friday is deeply disturbing and unacceptable. Wholly unacceptable. Such use of force and pepper spray should never be deployed against a child, period. My office is looking into what transpired and how a child was ever subjected to such danger. It's clear that drastic reform is needed at the Rochester Police Department to ensure that mental health professionals and child advocates are actually responding to people in need and when minors are involved, and that this type of behavior never occurs again. Then we have this other statement from Representative Joe Morrell. I'm not sure if he's a fucking state representative or if he's a congressman, but I think he might be a member of state legislature. I'm stunned and heartbroken by the Rochester Police Department body camera footage released over the weekend. A child, especially one who is clearly in distress, should never be treated this way, let alone by the very people who are supposed to keep her safe. RPD's response to this young girl lacked any empathy, understanding, and basic common sense, and if this is what protocol looks like, it's simply unacceptable. This child has failed at every level of response to this incident. Resources that could have de-escalated the situation and provided support to a child in crisis were not utilized. How much more trauma must our community endure before he must be a state representative like from the city of Rochester? Okay, I don't pay enough attention to this shit in terms of like who my state representatives are. Even though I've lived up here for a couple of years now. Almost 3 years. Actually, wait, fuck. Yeah, I've lived up here for like 2 years. How much more trauma must our community endure before real, meaningful action is taken to truly change our police culture and government protocols? And, the city released the body cam footage. I've seen the body cam footage on the news like 50 billion times. I don't really want to subject my viewers to this horrible bullshit. What the fuck? Why is this turned on? Why is that intermission thing turned on? It's not an intermission right now. God damn it. So, officers responded to a residence on Avenue B on Friday. Avenue B is in a neighborhood of the city that's, like, very impoverished. And they were approached by the custodial parent of a minor, a 9-year-old girl. Custodial parent told the RPD their child was going to cause self-harm to herself and others before she ran away from the evidence. Police said the girl was agitated when she saw her custodial parent that the RPD officers said an official sent a release. This caused the minor to pull away and kick at officers, which required an officer to take the minor down to the ground. The way that these people that work for the fucking police department talk about this shit, they're like so robotic, and they're so robotic about how they describe this stuff. I have to wonder if there's like actually something extremely fucking wrong with these people. That these people have just been like programmed to be mindless fucking drones where the government stomps on the rights of on the rights of local civilians. Like, this is so fucking monstrous. Officials say the minor refused to listen to them as they gave her multiple commands to place her feet inside of the patrol car. This required the officer to use an irritant on the minor. This required the officer to use an irritant on the minor. The minor was transported to Rochester General Hospital under Mental Hygiene Law 9.41. The minor was treated and released to her family. RPD is conducting an internal review, as is Rochester's Accountability Board, which, might I add, Piggy's, Rochester's Piggies fought fucking tooth and nail against that Piggy Accountability Board, because the Piggies don't ever want to be held accountable. The fact that, before I make this point, let's just keep going through this. Please know this process is continued for us, Harriet Sullivan said. It's never going to end. This is the kind of thing we're always going to be vigilant about. This is after interim police chief Cynthia Harriet Sullivan said Sunday that protocols and policies are currently being reviewed. Evaluating who we are and what we do as a department. The city of Rochester released a statement on Monday saying on Monday evening saying officers involved in the incident have been suspended. The city did not specify who they were or how many. And Mayor Lovely Warren is calling for changes to New York state law that would allow cities to take more immediate action to discipline officers in cases like this one. Rochester Police Union scumbag Mike Mazzeo said the officers didn't break any rules. When it's determined that she's need help, there's a mental hygiene, they have to be restrained. If that's not going to be the policy, then we need to change them. But they have to operate on what they have and what they can utilize. Blah, 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 blah. Reverend Lewis Stewart of United Christian Leadership Ministry condemned the actions of responding officers, said children should never be handcuffed or pepper sprayed. UCLM is calling for Rochester Police Department's review and reevaluate all policies. And all right, so here's the thing is, Lovely Warren's statements about any of this are fucking worthless. That lady is such a stupid, worthless fucking stooge of a politician. She has really she's under indictment for some campaign finance violation because she's a fucking sleaze. And, there are a lot of accusations against her, which I personally think are pretty credible, that Lovely Lauren was involved in brushing all this shit involving the fucking Daniel Prude murder under the rug. RPD's been facing extensive scrutiny for that. With how frequent things like this are happening in Rochester and just all over the place, I don't trust any of these fucking people to help me if I need it or if anybody I care about needs it. These people aren't providing a service. These people are a bunch of mindless jackboots. They're a bunch of filthy animals who live... These fucking people who are hired as cops are a bunch of filthy animals who literally just breathe violence. They literally look for every fucking excuse to... This is not a healthy dynamic where, one, I've pointed out on stream before that some enormous amount of people who, an enormous amount of the, officers that work for Rochester Police Department don't even live in fucking Rochester. They're these dumb, racist white assholes that have, lived a bunch, especially younger ones, a lot of them have lived their entire fucking lives out in the Rochester suburbs, where a lot of people are extremely fucking racist, whether low-key or not even, or just taking the mask right off. And I'm actually gonna look this up real quick. Or wait. Okay. I just found something on the City of Rochester's website. It is the policy of the City of Rochester that employees hired on or after October 1st, 2008 are required to maintain a residency in the city throughout their deployment. But employees exempted on this policy are primarily covered by the New York State Public Officers laws, such as police officers and firefighters, and those employees in positions cooperatively governed with Monroe County, such as 911 in the county library system. Yeah, so oh yeah, here's the thing from Spectrum. Local news tends to be really shit because Spectrum Cable's literally just a fucking cable company. But yeah, so here it is right here. Rochester leaders call for a residency requirement for new RPD officers, blah 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 blah. Requirement would only impact new recruits, which means if it ever actually went into place. Yep, look at this shit. The Rochester Police Department, only 47 of, that's less than 10%. 47 of the 713 officers employed by the Rochester Police Department live within the city of Rochester. The rest of that's less than 10 fucking percent. The rest of those. Now this was back in when the fuck did this come out? August? Where's the date? God, Spectrum News fucking really sucks, making it impossible to find dates of their fucking stories. So, yeah, and also Rochester Police Department is, like, overwhelmingly white guys. So, yeah, it's pretty obvious here that a prevailing attitude within Rochester Police Department is they're a bunch of, it's like this weird, like, pig frat of white boys that live out in the suburbs. A lot of the younger ones probably have their whole lives because less and less white people have lived up in the fucking city over the decades. And, it's very clear that they get this job. They're these racist white douchebags that are getting this fucking job as Rochester police officers because they worship this like ideal. They view the city as this place. They want to go in and like help wrangle the fucking. They want to go wrangle the crime-ridden scum that live up in the fucking city. They want to view themselves as these fighters of some weird force of good, and then they associate these forces of bad that they're supposed to be fighting against with black people that live in impoverished parts of Rochester City. Rochester City is a very it's a Rust Belt city. It's even though it's in New York, like Rochester, like Buffalo, Rochester, and Syracuse are the furthest east Rust Belt cities, basically. Or I guess maybe you could say some parts of Massachusetts as well, but that's not usually grouped in the Rust Belt. Ever since Rochester lost a lot of its huge industrial employers, or even like the one that's still around, fucking Kodak, it still exists, but it's the fraction of the size that it used to be because the dumb old white bastards running the joint there dug their own fucking graves. So now we have this problem of Rochester has become it always has been in like extremely segregated place, like a lot of Rust Belt cities are. Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Ohio, Cincinnati, Detroit. They've always been really segregated places. It's got worse and worse it's become worse and worse and worse. And now we've created this like weird warrior mentality among the people who want to become cops, primarily, especially in the case of Rochester, which is primarily white guys from the fucking suburbs who chances are won't even like be self-aware enough to admit it, but like deep down really, really fucking hate black people for whatever reason. They go get this job up in this city, and then this shit happens. Such as a guy literally running around naked in the fucking snow in the middle of winter gets essentially smothered to death by a bunch of piggies, and Then a bunch of piggies, like, basically beat up and pepper sprayed a 9-year-old girl. By the way, this 9-year-old girl, so apparently what happened was they were responding to a disturbance that she was suicidal and upset. They wanted to get her fully, they were trying to get her fully inside the, here's the most infuriating fucking part about this. Yeah, so, I'm not making any excuses for what transpired. Police responded to a call. The girl said she wanted to kill herself and her mother, and the officers at the scene made an effort to try to secure her. I haven't done enough looking to confirm this. I hear, like, part of the reason, like, the reason why this happened is because she, like, is because her, like, mother was tried to kill her dad or something like that. An officer decided to try to move the child to a police vehicle so she could be transferred to a hospital, Anderson said, but the child thrashed around. So what? From what I, observed, it didn't appear as if she was resisting the officer. She was trying not to be restrained to go to the hospital. An officer-worn camera footage, which contains graphic language and disturbing images, which is why I'm not going to play it on stream, shows the officer trying to restrain the girl as she falls in the snow. Officers put fucking handcuffs on her for some absurd reason as she screams out repeatedly, "I want my dad." And in a separate video by the police, they brought in 6 fucking cars to deal with this 9-year-old girl. No actual, and here's the most infuriating part. Some piggy is like, "You're acting like a child." She obviously replies, "I am a child," because she's 9 years old. Then, "This is your last chance of the pepper spray going in your eyeballs." What a fucking worthless piece of shit. Every single one of these officers that was involved in this should be completely shit-canned and utterly fucking blacklisted from ever serving on the police force again ever in their fucking lives. In fact, they shouldn't just be shit-canned and ever. They should honestly be thrown in prison for the rest of their lives. They have definitely caused. This girl has they were called in to assist a girl who was in extreme psychological distress, and instead of actually helping anybody, they just made the situation 50 billion times worse. Because once again, police officers are nothing more than a giant gang of animals that breed violence. And, oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot, let's watch this asshole. Let's watch this fucking worthless piece of fucking... Let's watch this worthless piece of fucking trash, like, scumbag piece of shit.
I can't tell you anything about him. He came,
Hold on.
I can't tell you anything about him. He came to the scene shortly thereafter. They were trying to get her into the car and made a decision. He made a decision there that he thought was the best action to take.
Look at the pig flag. These people are fascists.
Result in her no injury to her. Had they had to go and push further and use more force, there's a good chance she could have been hurt worse.
Pepper spray is pretty fucking injurious to use on somebody.
It's very, very difficult to get somebody into the back of a police car like that. And she's 9
This is a
years old.
9-year-old girl, pig.
Imagine what
A
happened.
9-year-old girl, you fucking pig.
A full-grown individual that we're dealing with.
You talk about the psychological impact on the officers, but what about the psychological impact on the 9-year-old girl who
Thank you, reporter. And fuck you, guy.
had to deal with this traumatic situation?
How about the traumatic situations that she's been dealing with? Did you listen to the words that her mother was saying to her? That's what's sad.
Did you are you helping that situation, you pig?
That's what's disturbing.
Did your piggy brothers help that situation at all? No, they didn't. They made it 50 billion times worse. Like, this is so utterly fucking absurd that these people think they're doing anything to help society.
That's what
These people view themselves as fucking heroes.
officers go home and say.
This is so
How does
fucking
that
ridiculous.
girl have a chance in life? What's that officer supposed to do? What can they do? You know what? understand how we respond to situations. It may go from a man with a gun call, to a traffic accident, to a family disturbance, to another incident. After this, those officers probably had to go on to several other calls that night.
So what? Don't care. Fuck you.
This doesn't happen in a vacuum. Some of those officers probably didn't get a chance to even discuss it until when? Hours.
You're right, it doesn't have a vacuum, and yeah, ultimately, the point I'm trying to get to here is this Twitter account here, Barbara, totally makes the great point here. These people pepper sprayed her because they were mad and because, you know how they said, stop acting like a child to somebody who is very obviously a child. Yeah, so that pretty much drives the point home here. Like, obviously they don't see black children as children. They have the audacity to come... This fucking douchebag has the fucking audacity to come out and defend using basically chemical weapons on a child. Says everything about how far gone these people... Yeah, we cannot reform this, so, where's the person fucking crooning about... Where was the person crooning about reform? Yeah, so Letitia James is crooning, is fucking fucking once again calling for drastic reform. What the fuck is drastic reform gonna do to fix all this? Yeah, exactly, Sigalnikov. Yeah, a 9-year-old fucking girl. What kind of... These people, these piggies, clearly, they don't view black children as children. And part of that is, well, because a lot of them don't view black people as people. They just view them as, like, criminals that they wanna... Thank you, I appreciate that. They're just, These are people with out-of-control egos that view themselves as heroes that need to, like, do their jobs by hurting people. Clearly these people that were involved in this incident, they get off on power. And, once again, remember, less than 10% of Rochester's, like, 700-something officers live in the city of Rochester. They're white, racist scum fucks from the suburbs that then go up into the city being like, oh yeah, I'm the warrior to, like, protect civil society from these criminal filth up in the ghetto. And then this happens. This can't be reformed. This has to be abolished. This has to be excised like a fucking tumor. Thank you very much for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. If you enjoyed this, then you might enjoy one of my live broadcasts over at twitch.tv/BeerBashJohnson. And if you would really like to support the channel, go on over to my Patreon at patreon.com/BeerBashJohnson. Both of those links are in the description below this video. And I wish you a wonderful day. Fuck. I can't speak right now. God damn it.